it wants to. Just 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? We're live. That is so
go.
awesome. And we're recording too. Facebook people, oh my gosh. You know, a lot of you don't watch when we're doing this. You watch after, and that's okay. And some of you wear pants. So there you go. Oh my gosh, I had the treat of my life this week. Adam Hunter's like a good buddy of mine because we both have the same comedy coach in New York, Gladys Simon, shout out. And I went and I always want to see Adam. You never get tired of seeing Adam Hunter perform comedy. Well, it's UFC week here in Vegas, and I got to see this guy, Ode Osbourne, perform his very first time on a public stage. He's here today to share a little bit about growing up in Jamaica, coming to Flatbush, football, wrestling, and now the UFC and comedy. Oh my gosh, you aren't going to believe what he's got to say. So tune in, stay tuned, kick back, relax, and watch the conversation. I want to give one shout out to a sponsor, 1 minute, Ode, on this. I'm a military veteran, and I belong to the traveling comedy group called the Veterans of Comedy. So go to theveteransofcomedy.com and don't hire any of those guys. They get enough work. Hire me. Just kidding. Hire who you want. Anyway, veteransofcomedy.com. And now for today's guest. Look at him. He's amazeballs. He's sitting there. He's present. You know, he beats. This is interview 941, Ode. You know, most of the comedians that have come on here can't keep their mouth shut when I'm talking. And they're not paying attention. You know, they got the ADD and the ADHD. You've been knocked around a few rings and you're paying attention. Like, come on, comics, step up your game. Take after this guy. Anyway, welcome to the stage, Ode Osbourne. Woo! Hi. Hi.
Thank you. So, first off, I just want to say I love that you did your homework on me because the football, the wrestling, the Flatbush, the growing up in Jamaica thing, I had said nothing to you about that. So I know you did your homework. So kudos to you on that. And the paying attention, I have all the ADHD and everything else as well. I do. I pride myself on when someone else is speaking, you know, because I worked in a school for the last 6 years. I was an assistant teacher for the last 6 years of my life. And so, yeah, I try to, when someone is speaking, to give them my undivided attention because I am an only child and I'm all about my attention. You know what I mean? You know, us only children, we thrive on attention. So I want to give it, you know what I'm saying? But are there any questions that you wanted me to go on, or do you want me to start with?
Oh my gosh, I was just mystified by the fact that your mother had you very, very, very young.
Yeah.
And your father left for England when you were 7.
Oh yeah.
And you were raised by grandmother, and a great grandmother. And that makes you wonderful. That's the seasoning. You know, the old souls raised you with old values. You had to go through some rejection, and then you got unconditional love, and now you know how to give it because you didn't have it where you're supposed to, but you're not angry or bitter. You got it, and you're happy. I can tell you're not angry and bitter. You're happy.
I am, and I only have God to thank for that because you know I'm a believer, and I wouldn't be where I am today without giving glory, all the praises to God, and everything that I've done in my life, I've had to take my leap of faith, as to say, you know what I'm saying? Because otherwise, I don't know how I'd be where I am if I didn't believe in God. Because I've had so much trials and tribulations, and I don't know how I would have gotten out of like all the things I got into. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know how I made it to the UFC from walking barefoot in Jamaica, walking through the woods, picking fruit, eating fruit, you know what I mean? Running all over the place, to being a professional UFC fighter. Like that is crazy to me. I still think about that today. And I'm just like, man, I'm so blessed and grateful. And, you know, sometimes I have to slap myself because right now I'm, you know, looking for like a place to buy and I'm like so stressed out. But God reminds me that I shouldn't be stressed out. I should be grateful that I have the blessings of having to go through the process of, you know, applying for a loan, having to go through the process of bank statements, having to go through all the tiring process. I shouldn't be stressed out. I should be grateful because I was broke with nothing just 20 years ago. So why am I stressing myself out? You know, I sometimes let society's ideals let me become ungrateful. So I can't become ungrateful. I have to make sure that I stay conscious and I stay aware.
Yes, and the more, you know, like I have this saying that if you're truly present and in every moment, the present is a gift. You know, like the word gift can also be interchanged for present. You know, you get a present, there's nothing better than being present. That is the gift.
100%, 100%. If you're not present, you miss everything, literally. And I didn't really understand what it was to be present or how to be present until I probably about like 2 years ago. I really started like settling into my uncomfortability is what I'll say. You know what I'm saying? Because uncomfortability is what makes us grow, but we all like to walk away from the uncomfortability. And so I started really like settling in that uncomfortability and see how long I can become uncomfortable. Like going up on stage and doing comedy was not something I ever thought about doing ever. But I knew it was something that I've always thought about. Like I've always like wrote down random silly jokes just because I really don't know why. I've always done that. I have so many jokes I write down randomly. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go do some comedy. I'm gonna go, you know, have some fun with it. You know, I'm gonna go be uncomfortable. As nervous as I might be, it can't be worse than getting into a cage and fighting another human being. So I was like, all right, let's do it. So I just jumped in and did it. And you know,
You know what was so beautiful about you being on stage is that you were authentically funny, authentically in the moment, and authentically you had moments of feeling uncomfortable that you let us share with you.
yeah, I definitely
And
did.
you know, like you got down kind of low at one point and kind of covered your face or something. You did something adorable. And how many of us are just dying to watch a UFC fighter feel uncomfortable?
Yeah, I was so uncomfortable and nervous, and I was like, hey guys, just so you know, here's how I'm feeling. You know what I mean? Because you can't bottle in how you feel. That's the part about being in front of people. You know, you gotta let them know if you feel a certain way. I'm like, hey, I feel uncomfortable right now, and I'm letting you guys all know how I feel. And if you don't like it, too damn bad.
So you came to America when you were only 9, and that would be funny material for you to mine the difference in being in Jamaica and Flatbush. You know, like there is no difference, it's a world of difference, or whatever.
Oh, trust me, I have so many jokes I've written down already about that. Like from having like a Jamaican mom. Oh, I have so many jokes on that. I told you I've been like doing this for a long time. I don't know why. I don't know why. I just have always thought it'd be funny to like write down jokes that I'm like, oh, that's a funny one. Write down. So I have a lot of jokes and material about having a Jamaican mom, working in the inner city with inner city children. That like I think that helps a lot because those kids are so witty, and sometimes like I get witty back and I roast them too, you know. And so it makes it just takes all the seriousness out of teaching. You know what I mean? When you like really crack a joke at a kid, and you know they crack one back, and you guys go back and forth like playing around. You know what I'm saying? And it really like it makes everything a lot less serious, you know, and you can make teaching fun with comedy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I used to be a banker for 24 years, and they had me teaching people tellering and new accounts and loans, even home loans. And the only way I could teach it was to keep telling jokes, because I mean, I wouldn't want to be in a class absorbing nothing but facts.
Exactly. Exactly. 100%. And the kids love that stuff too. They love it because it makes it easy. Speaking of Jamaica, it made it really easy to help teach kids because I saw myself in a lot of the kids. I saw myself in all of the kids, actually. Literally, I saw myself in every single one of them, and I was like, wow, you need love just like I needed love. So let me give that to you. You know what I mean? Like, hey, why are you acting out today? There's a reason why you're acting out. I'm not gonna just be like, you're acting out, I'm gonna punish you. I'm like, okay, so what is it why you're acting out? And I go and internalize that and I come back and I figure out, okay, this person is feeling not appreciative or not appreciated. So let me give him some attention, So yeah.
Do you know how many of us baby boomers would have loved to have had a teacher like you? We were just told to shove it and stuff it.
Same. I was told the same way in a lot of schools I went to, but it didn't work for me. So I was like, if I don't like something, why am I gonna do the same thing that I didn't like? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Like, So I changed it up and did it how I wanted to do it and made it interesting. I've always had a knack for creating something out of nothing.
Wow. Yeah, that's great. Oh my gosh. I bet coming from Jamaica burns that into your memory.
It does. It does. And I still remember to this day, I tell this story all the time, the day that I looked up at the airplanes like flying by and I was just like, man, where are those planes going? And I knew they were going to America, and I was just like, every day the planes would fly by and I'd be like, man, I want to be on one of those planes. Like, this is like, I didn't really enjoy being in Jamaica because it's not so much of Jamaica I didn't enjoy. I love Jamaica. It's just that I was lonely all the time. I didn't have any siblings. Parent like my grandparents sometimes were a little harsh, and I was always by myself, running around in the woods, doing stuff, and it was fun, but I just felt like I had more. Like God has so much more planned for me. And I felt that at the age of 7 that he had so much more for me. And I was just like, man, like I feel like my potential right now is limited, and I've always felt like even today that my potential is unmatched.
Wow.
And even doing comedy, everyone was like, oh man, you're amazing. And I'm like, I thought that was like, honestly, for me, that was like mediocre. Like, honestly, I'm very I was like, okay, there's things I could improve on, there's things I could have done, there's stuff I wanted to say. I was like, that was all right. you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the heart of an artist. We're never happy with we're always looking for the next big thing. So yeah. What are some of your life goals?
So, oh man, whew. I feel like my life goal, my goals change every year. So,
Probably because you accomplish them all yearly.
I wish. Oh my gosh, I wish. But really, I've just always wanted to be a light and help people, and whether that's teaching them about XYZ or motivating them or children, that's always been my thing. I don't know where God wants me. I just know I'm supposed to help a lot of people do a lot of great things. I want to save lives, and in not like a tragic way, but in like, I want to change someone's perspective. Like I've changed the children's perspective in a school. I want to change people's minds, because the world we live in, we're such a shame-based society, and we're always feeling the shame and the guilt. And I want to make people feel happy. Like I'm always happy. If you ask anyone or anyone I'm around, I'm generally like a happy person. Not all the time. Sometimes I'm a little bit I'm human, obviously, but yeah, my I guess I would say my life goals is to just spread my happiness and my positivity and share the goodness of God.
I love that. So, my dad, he survived the Holocaust, came to America, and he started working different jobs just to make money. Came with nothing. So I identify with the Jamaica background you have. But my dad would go down and find homeless people, people of color, hookers, anything that were being downtrodden, and he would bring them home and dress them and find them work. And then he went through a phase where he brought professional box. He'd find somebody he thought could box. He'd bring them home, throw them in the garage, make them hit, spar with the whatever it is you do. And they'd be in the garage making noises, and then my dad would get them into the boxing ring. So I was raised around a lot of athletes that were boxers and weightlifters, and this UFC thing, no offense, but it's new to me. And so I'm learning. I'm just beginning to learn and appreciate it. So take us through football, wrestling, UFC. That, like, I get it that you would say, oh, I wonder how, but then to do as well as you've done, oh my gosh, let's hear about that from you.
So, like I said, I told you when I look at the airplanes flying overhead in Jamaica, I always felt like there was more for me, and so that was the fire. You know what I'm saying? Because I always feel like I always had the feeling like, man, why do I have to be alone? Like, why don't anybody love me? You know what I mean? Because I never felt like that love, until like obviously my mom, like, she gave me all the love. My mom was and is amazing. She gives me all the love all the time. But so when I came to the States, I still had that burning desire to prove myself to everybody. I was always so competitive, trying to prove myself, And so I started football at the age of 14 in Florida. And I played with like so many NFL players today. Jacoby Brissett, he's a quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. He was the quarterback for the Patriots. He played for the Colts. He played for the Dolphins. A lot of football players that are in the NFL. Tommy Lee Lewis. But anyways, so I got into football and I did pretty good at football.
Keep going. I love football talk. No problem.
No, I got into football because it was just something that, it was a good outlet for me. I always liked physical sports, it's just like, I like that rugged, tough, like but deep down inside, I'm a soft ass teddy bear. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't let like the UFC and football that fool you. I'm a soft teddy bear. But I did football for about 2 or 3 years while I did wrestling. But the thing about it is I enjoyed wrestling more because football is a team sport, right? So if we lost or if we won, it was like, if we lost, it was like, okay, I can blame this person, that person, and the other people. But in wrestling, if I lost, it was all me. You know what I mean? I don't know if you can hear me. Someone's calling me right now.
Okay, the video went away. I'm sure you'll be back. He got a phone call, and sometimes that messes up the internet connection you have. So he'll come back in. He might have needed to take a phone call. It could be hundreds of thousands of dollars he'd miss for a free interview. This isn't paying him, so I don't blame him taking in a phone call. If I was at his level, I'd be taking a phone call over a free interview. Hopefully he'll be able to come back. If not, he'll come back another time and finish up his life. We just sit here and wait for him, see what happened. 1 second, I'm going to just see if he's writing me. I don't like to bother people, because like something came up. Says he doesn't know what happened. No problem. Here he is. Yay, he's back. Hi, Ode.
So this is the part that I hate about finding somewhere to live. You have these realtors that call you all the time, nonstop. And I tried to hit the end button, but I must have ended the whole thing, like this meeting and that call. So I ended it, but I ended the whole thing because I tried to like reject the call. But where was I? Oh yeah, so I started playing football and I got into wrestling because I thought wrestling, all the accountability was always on me. Whatever I put in, I got back. You know what I mean? And I couldn't blame anybody for my failures or anything like that. It was all on me. And another thing about football is football is a great sport, but there's so much politics involved in, especially when you play in Florida. Florida is extremely competitive. It's so competitive. So you're not just like playing football. You got to deal with like parents that think their kids are the best. You got to deal with this person, that. Oh man, it's so much politics. So I just decided to quit after my junior year because I really felt like wrestling could get me into college, and I was too small for football. I was 5'7", 100 and what 45 pounds. You know what I mean? That's tiny. So I ended up doing wrestling and sticking to wrestling, and then I went to Wisconsin because with the Midwest, if you know anything about wrestling, the Midwest has really good sports. So I ended up going to Wisconsin, and I met my very first MMA coach. His name was Reese Shaner. And this guy was just so amazing. He was just he was like the father that I never had and always wanted. And, when I met Reese, he told me, because I didn't have a job or anything at the time. And I really wanted to get into MMA. This was the summertime. I really wanted to get into MMA. And the college I was going to, Carroll University, they dropped the program a year after I went to that college. They dropped the program. So I was like, I don't know what else what am I going to do? Do I go back to Florida? And so I started looking into MMA gyms, and I met Reese, and I didn't have any money or anything. And he was just like, dude, just come to the gym and train and we'll figure it out, you know? And I did a couple sessions, and he looked at me and he's like, dude, you have so much potential. If you stick to this, someday you can become a UFC champion if you really, really, truly desire it and stick to it. And that meant so much to me that somebody like Reese, who I looked up to, believed in me only after like a couple weeks. You know what I mean? I was like, wow, that's amazing to hear. And one day he had one of his pro fighters was supposed to fight somebody, and he's like, hey, this guy is supposed to fight someone. Do you mind jumping in and sparring with him? I know you've never done sparring before, but just wrestle him, and if you need to. And so I get in the cage with him. We were sparring, and we're wearing shin pads that go on your shins and stuff, and in gloves. And first thing he does, he head kicks me, and I was like, well, damn, I guess we're here, And so I take him down right away, and I just started like wailing on him. And my coach, like Reese, was like so impressed. He was so impressed, and he's like, hey, at fighting, he's like, it's you can be something special. And that was after that. I just committed full time. And Reese wasn't like every other typical coach. He's old school. So he was about discipline, structure, and motivation. So Reese was into like the martial arts aspect, like the wax on, wax off, Mr. Miyagi. You have to bow before you enter the gym, no swearing. And I came from Florida. So all I knew was like, how to be a degenerate. You know what I mean? So when I came with Reese, he like really polished me up really well, and I never lost a fight. He took me to church for the first time, and the first verse was, "Seek first the kingdom of God, and all those will be given to you." He's like, "All things will be given to you," and I was like, "Wow, that verse gravitated to me." And yeah, I never lost a fight under Reese as an amateur or a pro, and he was always so motivating. He was just like, dude, you're awesome. I love watching you fight. He always motivated me. He never put me down. He always motivated me, and he wasn't like coaches today, they get so into their own way, and they want to motivate you, but also it puts you down. They don't really understand how to motivate somebody without putting them down.
It's
And
true.
it is. Reese ended up passing away in a motorcycle accident after my second pro fight, and I ended up going from like one gym to the next, to the next, to the next, and I just couldn't find my stride after that for a while. I couldn't find another Reese, and that was my problem. Is that I was seeking, I guess, like affection, love, attention, a father figure from all these coaches, and I needed to realize, like, I had to understand that I had to look into myself. I can't seek that from other people. Other people aren't going to give you that. You know what I'm saying? The only person that's going to give you that is Jesus. But you gotta look into yourself and build that for yourself, because nobody is going to believe in you the way that you believe in yourself. And once I understood that, I really like kind of, okay, I know what I need to do now. And I moved to Vegas only about 8 or 9 months ago. Found John Wood at Syndicate, and he's been amazing. We've been going at it since, and it's been beautiful. It's been like a beautiful destruction. Reese passing away was the destruction, but the path that it led me on was so beautiful. So here I am.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful story. Oh my gosh. You shared so much of your life. And you say that your mom, she's gotten older now, probably wiser, and she's still in your life, right?
Yes, my
She's
mom
a
is amazing.
strong supporter.
Yes, she's amazing. She hates that I fight because, no mom wants to see their kid fight, but she's so proud of me. Like, she's beyond proud of me. And, I couldn't have done it, couldn't be here without her. It's been a blessing, honestly. Like, I just am so grateful for everything that I've gone through. I've always asked myself, like, why me? Why do I have to go through this? Why me? But now I know I had to go through it in order to get to where I am today.
Absolutely. What is it you'd like to say to young people who might be watching, or parents who have young children, and maybe their children are thinking of going into the UFC? Because that's really popular right now. What would
Mhm.
you like to say?
The first thing I would say is just be humble, like, through and through. If young people that are listening, put your ego to the side, because that will be the death of you. You got to humble yourself. Like, when I say humble yourself, I mean become a student. Forget about what you know. Become a student and learn. Stop thinking you know everything, because you don't. Because I was there. I thought I knew everything, and I had to be humbled. And when I did learn that lesson of being humbled, and I had to humble myself even more, because I also have a big ego, but I have to keep my ego in check by humbling myself. And for parents, my only thing is just motivate your children and tell them all the time how proud you are of them. It doesn't matter what it is they want to do. I think a lot of parents want so much for their kid, right? But that's the problem. You can't want something for your children for you. You have to want it for them. You know what I mean? You can't
Yes.
want your kid to go to college for you. You can't want your kid to play a certain sport for you. You can't want your kid to have all these things for you, and because that's what you did, and that's what your parents did, and that's what and you're scared because you want your kid to become unsuccessful. Forget about that. Just support them in whatever it is they want to do. If they want to be a garbage collector, you say, son or daughter, go out there and be the best damn garbage collector ever.
Amen. So now you're here in Vegas, and I want you to stay in touch with me. I know you said you'll share this later on. It's on my Facebook wall. You can go to my Facebook and click share. If you can't find it, tell me and I'll send it to you on the text.
Okay, what's your name on Facebook? Just
Linda
Linda.
Linda Marcus Smith. But I'll send it to you by messenger so you're sure to get it.
Okay.
And the other thing is, now that you're here in Vegas, welcome. And you got to come back and promote anything. I know your entrepreneurial brain is sitting there thinking of what else you can do to benefit the world. So please come back and let me promote that for you as well.
For sure, for sure. I'm so glad I ended up running into you too. It's like, boom. So that
Me
was
too. You're such a bright light. I love talking to you after your set. I was so glad I got to see you because you're so special. You have star quality all over you.
I appreciate that. I wish that I embodied that more because I struggle with self-confidence a lot. You know what I mean? Uh,
Wow. Wouldn't have known.
so yeah, I know I do. I have to like be, my way of bringing out my confidence is by exuberating myself and being that, like, what I have to tell myself every day I wake up, like, what, I'm worthy and I deserve everything that I have. And so I gotta be confident in everything and everything that God's done for me. I have to be confident. And so I just keep repeating that to myself because I've on the road to being into the UFC, I was put down so much and it kind of it ruined me, and I'm still building myself back up. So
I think it's so great that you're doing comedy because, like, if Chris Rock would have known a little bit of UFC moves, that might have gone down a bit differently.
right, for real,
That
for
would
real.
have
Oh
been
my
fun to
God.
watch. I can
Right.
imagine somebody trying to take you on stage, like it'd be history.
Look, I might have to add that one in there.
Okay, do it. Thank you so much. Ode is here and he spent a lot of time with. I love Ode Osbourne, you guys. Where can people follow you and when's your next UFC bout?
People can follow me on mainly Instagram and Twitter. I don't really use Facebook like that, to be honest, but they can follow me on Facebook if they want, but I don't really use it like that. But Instagram and Twitter, I try to keep it easy and simple. First and last name. So Ode Osbourne. If you type in ODE and then OS, the rest will come up. I'm pretty sure I'm the only Ode Oz, unless there is also Ozzy Osbourne, but I'm him without the drugs.
Did you hear the story way back when he ate a bat?
No,
You
is
gotta
that how?
look that. You gotta look that up. Oh my
Oh
gosh!
God, so he's who we have to blame for COVID then, huh?
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you so much, Ode Osbourne. Thank you, you guys. Bye. Love you lots.